Good morning. My name is Angelika Svoykina. I'm a pre-sale manager at Security Vision. And today we're going to talk about effective interaction between SOAR and SIEM systems. To start with, let's remember how good old SIEM. I'm sure all of you know how it works. These are disparate sources of data, correlation rules, incident discovery from different sources, tens of millions incidents per day, for which professionals should pay attention to. They should see them, respond to them, pass different logs, and identify anomalies. In each SOC, there's their own process of processing and closing of incidents. As a rule, it includes different steps, collection of information, routine actions that a person needs to make. And as a rule, each step takes some time from the professional. The professional spends their precious time. And talking about precedents, what has changed since the start of 2022? Firstly, they have become much more numerous. If you compare with Q1 21, then in the beginning of 2021, the number of incidents grew by the factor of more than 4. So the biggest upsurge of incidents could be observed since the end of February. One should notice that even though there have been much more incidents, the share of smart attacks has gone down. It can be explained by the fact that now many rank-and-file users connect to the bot networks. They view different instructions, let's say in Telegram channels. They use exploits, and they can start attacking from their personal devices. These attacks have become more numerous, but they haven't become more complicated. And routine processing of these incidents is quite simple. And of course, the specialists will be burning out, closing dozens and hundreds of incidents absolutely the same, not exciting, not complicated. Of course, the duration of the attacks has also changed. If in the past the attacks were measured in minutes and hours, now some attacks can last for several days. And what does it lead to? It leads to a huge load on SOC analysts. There are many more attacks. They have become the same. They have started to last longer. And how do you think you can take off this load from our analysts? How we can help them? A representative of which company am I? Of course, SOAR platforms. The SOAR platform is exactly intended to automate the incident response, to bring down the response time, to leave the precious time for the investigation of more complicated incidents. Let's now talk about some basic interactions between SOAR and SIEM systems. Firstly, it's ticketing. Ticketing is about collecting and enriching data from different sources. What do I need to note? Modern SIEM systems don't have a fully fledged engine for ticket processing. Most companies have to start incidents in other systems, hot desk. It could be Jira, HPSM, and others. But these systems also don't have a fully fledged process to close incidents. Work processes, workflows to automate and respond to any incidents. So workflows are used for that, to write algorithms to automate the response. Workflows are basically flowcharts based on the correlation engine. You can use past transactions, come back to the previous step, or do it in a cyclic way, or run checks several times. Connectors. One should also note that most SOAR platforms, when interacting with SIEM systems, use unilateral interaction. That's so an incident is generated in the SOAR platform after triggered by some alert unilaterally. This our technology allows us doing it in both directions. SIEM can send commands, and we can remotely control SIEM using the connector. This is an example. This is basically a real-life case to show how a basic incident such as contamination is processed. Here you see certain actions, they can change, and depending on the company, on the playbook, they can be a little bit different, but the process is about the same. And we see that every step, like sending a remote command, instruction, certain event, they all take some time. And the SOAR platform allows responding many times faster. Also, what's important, again, here we have a workflow showing that if before the SOAR implementation it takes an hour or an hour and a half, after the implementation it takes just a few minutes. So that can be, this is what automation does. Okay, we've seen the incidents. There are several of them. And now the response has come faster. But what if these incidents are hundreds and thousands? You can imagine how faster the SOC can respond with the help of our technology. Of course, it's all great. We've talked about basic interactions between SOAR and SIEM. Let's now talk about interactions that are not basic. What can I talk about? Firstly, efficiency checking. What do I mean by this? Now, we are looking at being able to emulate, based on the attack pattern, to emulate a script that would emulate some malicious software. What do? Every attack has its own pattern. And we, when the trigger fires for this attack, can remotely launch it in our scenario and see how the incident is going to be closed, looking through all the logs from the start, from identification to the complete closure. So we can look through the incident closure process completely, seeing how all these events are generated, what level of security the company has. That will allow us to get a more accurate assessment of what level of maturity security is in this company. Because SIEM is collecting data from all sources. This entails in a huge volume of data. It becomes a great source from which you can take data and analyze it within SOAR using specific analysis tools, viewing some events, like, for instance, which hosts are sending security events, where this process is working, where it isn't. For this, we have this incident data lake. You can use it to build any kind of statistic, view how incidents are closed, and also maybe make some conclusions. Threat hunting in real time. So how does SIEM work? In SIEM, you set up correlation rules. They identify incidents statistically. For instance, if you have some anomaly and it's not already built into SIEM, SIEM can't find an incident in real time. It could be a zero-day attack or some other anomaly that will correlate with the previous events. We are now looking at the same direction. We collect all these data and in real time find incidents. So of all the traffic, we find the outliers, the anomalies. If you're interested to learn more about this, it's indeed a very good presentation. My colleague spoke yesterday about this topic, finding anomalies in data using neural networks on the SIEM platform. You can watch it in as recorded. And of course, reports and analytics. Everybody needs that. The management needs that. The rank and file users need them. You have to use them to see your dynamic. How long does it take to close an incident? You can set different timers, for instance, triggers, so that the incident should be closed within a certain time, and so on and so forth. Now, we are also working in this direction. All the analytics that a professional is running is done within this platform. And then the analyst can enter some formula how to identify outliers, also design the dashboards. And if the specialist goes away from the company, leaves the company, his competency stays within the platform. And the next analyst does not have to start from scratch. They have all the heritage of the previous analyst, and this, in its turn, improves the effectiveness of a SOC analyst work. In addition to that, it's of course being able to organize graphs, view through events from a specific asset, viewing through its history, how the software has been updated and everything. Of course, part of this is available from SIEM, but using SIEM data and your own mechanism allows enriching the data all the way to improving the security. So we have talked about some security events, but in addition to that, you can automate the activities that happens in the IT department. Maybe antivirus solution updating, network scanning, blocking and unblocking of accounts, account issuance, all this routine work that the IT department is doing. But of course, it correlates with information security. So there's always an opportunity. There's also an opportunity of automating this so that people should not spend time that is so valuable in the current situation. So thank you all for your attention. Maybe you have some questions so that I could cover something in more detail. Yeah, I see no questions. Well, in the beginning of my presentation, I showed my email address. If you get any questions, please write me. So I'm hoping that we'll keep working successfully, improving security. Thank you, everyone, and I'm passing the floor to the next speaker.